Good evening, all. Our respected honorable chief guest, our esteemed speakers, and all the valuable participants. This is Nandini Day here before you in this webinar. It's not children's education we should worry about, it's their mental health. Presented by Professional Institute of Business, Bangladesh. I welcome you all in this beautiful summer evening. The decision on when to reopen schools has become one of the mostly consistent issues around easing the coronavirus lockdown. But while the debate has largely focused on the loss to children's education while in school have been shut, a bigger concern is the effect on their mental health. More and more school children are struggling to cope up with their mental health amidst of rising rates of depression, anxiety, and self-harm in children in young people. Mental health is not extracurricular. Good mental health is fundamental to be able to thrive in life. If we are not tackling mental health problems today, then we risk failing the next generation right at the start of their lives. So, worry about their good mental health, it is in the need of the hour. Without taking much time, uh, I would like to welcome our chief guest, Dr. M.A. Khalid. Dr. Khalid,
Okay.
Dr. Khalid has done masters from Dhaka University, PhD from USA. He has a wide-ranging background and brings 38 years of experience on the table. He is a senior consultant psychologist practicing since 2000. He has joined as advisor and management consultant in Star Gold Group of Company, Dubai, UAE. Currently, he has been associated with a reputed university as a faculty for MBA and EMBA program. Sir, over to you and bless us with your address note.
Thank you, Nandini, for your nice and kind words as you explained. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. Good evening here in Bangladesh. First of all, I would like to convey my sincere thanks to our keynote speaker, Mr. Matt Peristain, Chief Executive Officer, EQ4 Peace Worldwide Incorporated, USA. Special thanks to guest of honor, Dr. Sheikh Abdul Bashir, Senior Consultant, Neuropsychiatrist, Founder, Mind Piper, and Dr. Sitama Mitra Ghosh, Certified Psychiatric Counselor from IPS Kolkata, Ms. Bhageshwari Kaur, RCI Registered Clinical Psychologist, Ms. Dolmoni Das, Lecturer, BSc Nursing College, Silchar, Assam, Ms. Sweta Bhakt Ghosh, Student Counselor, and Ms. Annesha Chakraborty, Rehabilitation Psychologist, and honored participant and dignitaries. Lastly, I convey my blessing and best wishes to Ms. Nandini De, Program Coordinator and Psychologist who work hard to make this session a great success. Today's topics on it's not children's education we should worry about, it's their mental health. That we will consider the mental health as a top priority. I would like to share my thoughts and knowledge related to mental illness in children. Mental health disorder in children are generally defined as delays or disruption in developing age-appropriate thinking, behaviors, social skills, or regulation of emotions. These problems are distressing to children and disrupt their ability to function well at home, in school, or in other social situations. What are the barriers to treating childhood mental health disorder? It can be difficult to understand mental health disorder in children because normal childhood development is a process that involves change. Additionally, the symptoms of a disorder may differ depending on the child's age, and children may not be able to explain how they feel or why they are behaving a certain way. Concerned about the stigma associated with the mental illness, the use of medications and cost of logical changes of treatment might also prevent parents from seeking care for a child who has a suspected mental illness. Common disorder among children. What are the common disorders? Of course, anxiety disorder in children and persist fears, worries, anxiety or disrupt their ability to participate in play, school, or typical age appropriate social situations. Attention deficit, hyperactivity disorder compared with most children of the same age. Children with ADHD have difficulty with attention, impulsive behavior, hyperactivity, or some combination of these problems. Autism spectrum disorder. Autism spectrum disorder is a neurological condition that appears early childhood, usually before age 3. Eating disorder, depression or the mood disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is a disorder in perception and thoughts that cause a perception to lose touch with reality. Most often appearing the late teens thought 20s, schizophrenia results in hallucination, delusion, and disordered thinking and behavior. What are the warning signs of a children? Persistent sadness, 2 or more weeks, withdrawing from or avoiding social interactions, hurting oneself or talking about hurting oneself, taking talking about death or suicide, outburst or extreme irritability, out of control behavior that can be harmful, drastic changes in mood, behavior, or personality, changes in eating habits, loss of weight, difficulty sleeping, frequent headaches or stomachs, difficulty concentrating, change in academic performance, avoiding or missing school. How do I, if I suspect my child has a mental health condition? If you're concerned about your child's mental health, consult your child's doctor. Describe the behaviors that concern you. Talk to your child's teacher, close friends, relatives, or other caregivers to see if they have noticed changes in your child's behavior. Share this information with your child's doctor even. How does healthcare professional diagnose mental illness in children? Evaluated by psychiatrist, psychologist, clinical social worker, psychiatric nurse, or other mental health care professional. How to evaluate? Complete medical examination, medical history, history of physical and emotional trauma, family history of physical and mental health, review of symptoms and general concern with parents, timeline of child's development progress, academic history, interview with parents, conversation with observation of the child, standard assessment and questionnaire for child and parents. Diagnostic mental illness in children can take time because young children may have trouble understanding or expressing their feelings and normal development varies. The doctor may change or refine a diagnosis over the time. How is mental illness in children be treated? Psychotherapy, also known as talk therapy, behavior therapy is a way to address mental health concern by talking with a psychologist or other mental health professional. With young children, psychotherapy may include playtime or games, as well as talk about what happens while playing. During psychotherapy, children and adolescents learn how to talk about thoughts and feelings, how to respond to them, and how to learn new behaviors and coping skills. Meditations. Your child's doctor or mental health professional may comment medications such as stimulant, antidepressant, anti-anxiety medication, antipsychotic, or mood stabilizer as a part of treatment plan. How can I help my child cope with mental illness? Play an important role in supporting your child's treatment plan. To care for yourself, your child, learn about illness, consider family counseling that treats all members as partners in the treatment plan. Ask your child's mental health professionals for advice on how to respond to your child and handle difficult training programs, particularly those designed for parents of children with a mental illness. Explore stress management technique to help you respond calmly. Seek ways to relax and have fun with your child. Praise your child's strengths and abilities. Work with child school to secure necessary support. So I have taken maximum time, I think, I don't know. However, I had to complete just gist. So I know a lot of resource person, key speakers, guest of honors, psychologists, school counselor, they are really engaged with all these activities day to day, and especially during COVID-19. They are doing their work, online work they're performing now. So I would request, I will hand over this to Nandini there for the next speaker.
Thank you so much, sir, for your appreciation and wise word. It means a lot. Now, I would like to welcome our honorable keynote speaker, Mr. Matt Perelstein. Mr. Matt is also known as EQ Dude, as he has been immersed in teaching, studying, writing about, and practicing emotional intelligence for over 30 years in USA. He also runs a non-profitable organization in USA known as EQ for Peace. He believes we can change the world from inside out with emotional intelligence by teaching how to manage our thoughts, feelings, and behavior. I welcome you today in this webinar. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Nandini. Thank you, Dr. Khalid. So welcome, everybody. Hello from the United States. It's early here. I think it's later there, but we have a lot to cover and some great information, great speakers in this webinar, and I'm excited for you all to get all the information. Also, I haven't heard some of the presentations that we're going to see today, so I'm looking forward to it as well. So I'm excited about the whole thing. So I know a lot of you have different points of view from how you're dealing with kids. Some of you are therapists, some of you are psychology, some are students, some are parents, etc. And so, excuse me, we'll try to cover a lot of different areas, some technical, some more practical. My personal background is not very technical or scientific, so I'm more into the practical use of EQ. We also differentiate or distinguish EQ from SEL. SEL is social emotional learning, which is what the academics call, what it's called in academia, learning about emotions. It's all emotions. And so we're going to use those terms interchangeably. So we don't have very much time, and I'm going to go pretty fast because I have tons and tons and tons of information that I could give you, and I had to cut it down to try to limit it as much as possible. So please try to stay with me, or you can also, there'll be a recording after, you can go back later and cover things as well. So looking forward to a good webinar, and I'll go ahead and I'm going to share my screen. I have a PowerPoint, and like I said, I'm going to go rather quickly. So let me know, thumbs up, Dr. Khalid, if you can see this, sharing my screen. You can see it okay? Yep, good. Thank you, Nandini. Okay, so,
yeah, is it okay?
So,
okay.
Good. Okay. So this is about emotional intelligence. It's about being smart with our mind and our heart and our body. Some of this is specifically for kids, but some of it is also for you, because one of the main things that kids we found need is a role model. So I'll talk more about that later, but this is also about you. So try to relate it to how you do your life, as well as how to help kids do theirs. Okay. Emotional intelligence starts with ourselves. So there we go. Okay, so a couple of goals that I have for this presentation are so help you understand some mental health challenges that are going on now. I know you know there's problems. There's problems. Nobody's clueless about that, but we can do good things with it. There's some hope. I want to give you some specific tools to help them and you, like I said, and not all of us are therapists. Some of us are parents, et cetera. And so we can educate kids. We can help kids manage themselves so that they can have their own better mental health. Like I said, I'm more into the application of this. So I'm going to introduce what I call the science of it, which I don't know much about, the art of it, which is kind of cool. But I really actually believe, like Nandini said, that we can change the world with emotional intelligence. It's kind of like the answer that we've been looking for, and it's kind of magical. So if you look at it from that perspective, it's pretty fun to use it and to learn about it. And I want you to go away with some hope and some inspiration to be able to help yourself and to impact kids as much as possible. So, you know, like I said, EQ is great, but there's some bad, it's bad, you guys, it's bad. People are hurting emotionally and physically, but emotionally we can do something about, we can do things about this and help ourselves and the kids. So I believe EQ is here to save the day. Here's some bad statistics. I'm going to go down and then we'll come back up. Okay. There's a CDC's disease control, and almost half the people have at least one mental health condition. The anxiety, depression, trauma, substance abuse is going up, domestic violence is going up, child abuse is going up, suicide is going up so bad. It's so bad, you guys. And we can help with that. They said 11% it's seriously considered suicide in the last 30 days. That's like 1 in 10 people seriously considered it. It's now the #2 cause of death in the United States for 10-year-olds, 10 to 24-year-olds. That just blows me away. That it's incredible how bad that is. But so we have a lot to do. I feel really passionate about it, as you can probably hear in my voice. And I feel like we have a very big sense of urgency as well. It's not just information. It's not just education. We're actually saving lives here. And so this is really, really important. So here I'm getting all teary, hang on. So we do need to be role models. And so I try to, you know, we're talking about being okay with our feelings, and I'm pretty much okay with mine. So you're going to hear them sometimes. So this is my opinion here. So this is just what I think we need to do. Model EQ. Get kids to talk. I think what we found is that the kids people, not just kids, but people need to talk and about what they're feeling. They need to express it. Awareness, acceptance, and action, being able to be aware of what they're feeling, being able to accept that, and to be able to express them or to take some action or not take any action. I'll go more into that in a minute. And the best thing that we can do as providers, as parents, as friends, as family, as lovers, whatever you want to call it, is to listen, shut up and listen. I'll go more into that in a minute, but listen, to let people talk and make a safe place emotionally. So a couple of specific tools that I want to give in here are thoughts, feelings, and actions are the key to all of this. Emotional responsibility, complaining versus venting. I'll go into each of these a little bit. And resilience, persistence, and grit. It's kind of this new weapon that emotional weapon I developed, and I'll talk more about that. So we want to create love and acceptance and understanding. EQ is about the studying of myself, and me and you and we and us. It's about being aware of myself and managing myself, and then being aware of you and managing my relationships with you. It's not rocket science. A lot of this is really simple, but it ain't easy. A lot of times it is not easy. So if you guys, you want to put into chat what maybe one of these that's the strongest for you, or that you need the most work on, go ahead and put into chat, and let's start communication going, not just me running my mouth. Okay, and you guys can talk within each other, because there's some very powerful people on this call. So it all starts with awareness. So that's what we're doing here. We're trying to be aware. So the three parts of EQ that we really need to be aware of are our thoughts, our left brain thoughts, our right brain feelings, and our actions. That's all we have. It's all we really need too. So thoughts, feelings, and action. I'm going to talk a lot about those, because that's how the components of all of EQ, in my opinion, are based on our research. So we're going to add our thoughts create our feelings. Most people do not know that. Most people don't know that we have thoughts and feelings. Most kids do not know that their thoughts create their feelings. If you think you're unsafe, then you're going to feel yucky stuff, negative feelings, right? If you feel you are safe, then you're going to feel different things. So your thoughts actually create your feelings. And the cool thing is that we get to choose our thoughts. The key to the concentrating on this whole thing is that we can choose our thoughts. We get to choose what we want to think and what we want to feel. Doesn't mean that we can control it all. That's not right, the word control it all, because thoughts and feelings come into us, but we can do things with them. We can adjust them. We can say, no, I don't want to think that. I want to think this, and then teach ourselves and train ourselves to think more positively in different things. So our thoughts create our feelings, but our thoughts are changeable, and we can do things with them. We can choose. And this gives us the power to control our lives. This gives kids ability to know that no matter what happens outside, no matter what little Billy said to him and bullied him or said something nasty to him or whatever, he still has the ability to choose what goes on inside and to manage their inner world. And it gives people the power and control over their lives. And it's huge. It's a huge, huge point to this whole thing. And it encourages independence and self-control. Huge things for mental health. Here's a fun little chart. I talked about the left brain versus the right brain. It's not, if you're a science guy, it's not, or girl, it's not specifically that. You know how the brain is cut into two, like it's shown here. It's the meningia and the cortex, et cetera, which is more in the center. You get that. The one, what I like about this is people get it from this. They're like, okay, we're really good at our left brain. We learn lots of cool stuff in school about our left brain, about our analytics and our logic and our reason and our cognitive thinking. We don't learn much at all about our emotions. So we're real good up here, and we need some help on this side. So we want to lift this up. We want to encourage this. We're not taking anything away from people. We want to add to it. We want to add our emotions to our logic and create IQ plus EQ. We can create balance and we can create power in our lives. It's a wonderful thing. So this is a little bit severe, but I like this saying, educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. I don't know, that's a little bit, you get the idea. We need to educate the emotions as well. It's not just book learning. I saw one cool thing this morning that said, can you learn to swim in a textbook? Can you learn how to swim out of a textbook? Yeah, but you won't really know how to swim. All right, you can learn conceptually, but you can't really learn how to swim. So you get the idea. Here's another thing that this one, I love this quote. Viktor Frankl is one of the founders of emotional intelligence. And he said, between stimulus and response, meaning when something happens outside of you and how we choose to respond to it, there's a space. There's a space between what happens and how we choose. In that space is our power to choose our response. And in our response lies our growth and our freedom. I love that. He was in concentration camps in Germany in World War II, and he watched people, and he's found the people that survived managed to manage their inner world better than their outer, or they couldn't do anything about their outer world, but they managed their inner world well. So 3 steps to emotional intelligence. Awareness first, always. We can't do anything until we're aware, right? Acceptance, big deal. That's a very big deal. Acceptance is huge because a lot of times oh yeah, I'm angry. No, I'm not. I'm feeling this. No, I'm not. And we end up lying about it and denying it and avoiding it and going through all this stuff. And we could just go, I'm angry. I'm upset. I'm hurt. Whatever it is, just accept it. It takes this long. Boom, 1 second to choose to accept things. Then once we are aware and we accept, then what are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? Or what are we going to do with it? Those are very different. Think about that. What do you do about something is action. What do you do with it is your thoughts and your feelings. Big difference, very important, both critical. And actions, the action or not means that a lot of times, especially with strong emotions, no action is a good action. It's an action and it's a good action. I got hurt by so-and-so, or I'm really angry at whatever, and I'm going to choose not to say anything. That's my action, but I chose, that puts me in control. So feelings are a good thing, but be careful of your actions. Those are very different. So we're taught how to use our mind. We learn how to balance our heart, or we need to learn how to balance our heart, like I was saying before. So the biggest tool, I've done hundreds of videos and all this stuff. And one thing I always say is that this part, emotional responsibility, is the key to this whole thing. If I think that they did it to me, if kids think that the world is running them, you're in trouble. All right. You're a victim. You're a whiner. You end up being a whiner blamer kind of person. And you yikes, I hope they fix it. Right. Kind of thing. Because I'm a mess if I don't. If I say, no matter what's happening in here, I'm in charge of my thoughts, my feelings, and my actions, then I have control. I have control, not them, me. And that is huge. All right. So this is one of our EQ for Peace. This is our nonprofit. This is what we found out, and we're basing it on is we can actually teach inner peace. We can teach interpersonal peace, which is me and you. We can teach social peace, which is all of us getting along here on a webinar, a bunch of people at once, or a team or school or work or your family. We can teach all these skills. And hopefully someday, if we teach enough people, we can lead to global peace. We'll see. So there are no negative emotions. They're all information that our body gives us, even, fear, anger, sadness, all that stuff. They don't feel that great sometimes, but they're not negative, like we need to throw them away or avoid them or hide from them or any of that stuff. They're real. If we can accept them, we can learn from them. And if you can handle your fear, anger, and sadness, so the big 3, I call them big 3 negatives. If you can handle your fear, anger, and sadness, there just isn't that much that life can throw at you that you can't handle. So I got to breathe here. There's a big difference here. This is another distinction that is very, very critical in my opinion. Complaining versus venting. Complaining means I am powerless. I'm whining. I'm, no, this is terrible and stuff. And a lot of times people, the person listening to you both feel worse afterward, that kind of thing. But if you're venting, that's a whole different story. Complaining causes you to go down. Venting, on the other hand, is I am angry. I'm just angry. How you deal with your anger? You go like this. You go, ah! I'm angry. I'm angry. My body's angry. It's in my body. It's in my neck. It's in my shoulders. It's in my belly, whatever it is. And I just be angry for a minute. Or if I'm scared, I just be scared for a minute. And we call it feel it to heal it. And we can allow ourselves to feel these emotions and then let them go. And they don't have to hang around in our body. They don't have to just live there. We don't have to carry stuff around like that. But first we got to take responsibility. It's my anger and my sadness and my fear. And then I can do something with it, and I can vent it if I need to and let it out. Couch better pillow, right? If you get really upset and you're really, just really, you can hit, get stuff out of you, stress out of you, and then at the end, and then let it go, and then let it go. And that's like the key to stress, the anti-stress. So from our point of view, us being the adults and the caregivers and the parents or whatever, are, like I was saying earlier, the biggest magical, and again, magical in my opinion, communication skill is to stop or shut up, open up and listen. A big part of this communication of our EQ skills is our ability to open our heart or close our heart. We get to do that. Again, emotional responsibility. We get to open up or close up. When kids are talking to us and feeling what they need to and being real and trying to create a safe place, we can open our heart up to them and listen and just listen and just listen. And they'll tell you stuff. Wow. People, they will tell you things that are amazing, but it also is so healing for them. So try that. One thing, this is another one of the little magical tools, rating. How bad do you feel? How bad do you feel? And concern, not like totally analytical, but how bad is it? I got hurt by so-and-so. Well, how bad is it? Rate it 1 to 10. And what it does is it allows your emotions and your feelings and your thoughts to go together. This is a balancing thing. In big emotion, you ask them to rate it and they kind of jump over onto the left side a little bit and have to think about it. And you end up getting the balance, and it helps them with perspective and awareness and acceptance. So ask people to rate their pain. It's a silly little tool, but it works so well. Okay, I'm getting close to being done. I know I'm running over time. So the most powerful weapon that people can carry in war, this for real, for guys carry in war, is called a RPG. It's a rocket propelled grenade launcher. It's a wicked weapon that throws grenades. Okay, it's called an RPG. Well, it's in emotions. The RPG is also the most powerful weapon you can carry. Resilience, perseverance, and grit. Persistence, either one. Resilience, I can deal with stuff and be flexible, and I can live with whatever. Perseverance is I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. I'm not going to give up. And grit is, this is going to be really hard, and I'm going to do it anyway. And I can do this. It's going to be really hard. This is really painful, and I'm going to do it anyway. So grit is a huge, beautiful word. There's books on it now all over, and YouTube videos. Look it up. But grit is a beautiful little word that gives so much power to people. So this is kind of a fun slide that just shows if you want to be successful, there's a whole, what people see is, hey, I was successful, but what you have to do is all the stuff underneath. That's pretty amazing, and it's all EQ stuff. So I'm almost done here. So to take away from this, I'm hoping that you will see that adding EQ education to our IQ education is the key to our happiness and our sanity, it turns out, and our success in life. Because we acknowledge that feelings matter a lot. We can listen to each other. We can open up our heart and be to each other. Or if somebody's not being safe, we can close up our heart, that kind of thing. I want to encourage you guys to be role models, all of us to be role models, because kids, as you know, they're watching. There's a saying like, don't worry that kids aren't listening to you. Be worried that they're watching you because they do what we do. And there is hope with EQ. So here's some contact information for me. Again, you want to come back to this later in the video, that's fine. And I just wanted to throw out that this webinar was incredibly inexpensive and even free for some people. But if you find value in it, then maybe you could help donate to us at the end. And and we'll deal with that. But you know what I mean? If you find value in this, then later on, maybe you can do something with it. But okay, so I think I'm done. I'm going to turn it over to our other wonderful speakers. Thank you, Nandini, and off you go.
Thank you so much. Every child deserves a champion, an adult who will never give up on them, who understand the power of connection and insist that they become the best they can possibly be. Thank you so much, Mr. Matt, for your kind words. And I hope it will applicable to all of us, all of the adults who are dealing with children, children with special need, or teenagers, or some of them who have some emotional issues, and everyone. So actually, there is a question for you. I would like to convey to you. It is from Pritinder Chadda. How many people are ready to concede this difference between complaining and venting?
Obviously I don't know how many, I can't give you a number, but I can tell you that people do have trouble with it. I I'll acknowledge that. Some people do fight it. I'll acknowledge that. But once I will also acknowledge that if you try it sometime and you see the difference. The words are, I am angry. I am sad. I am afraid. That's it. You don't have to say anything else, actually. But if you say it over and over, and you say it with feeling, it can heal your whole life. I'm angry. I'm angry. It doesn't even matter what it is. It doesn't matter the details. So some people fight it, but if you try it sometime or help kids do that, just vent it out, get it out of you, all of it. And if you're sad, what I do if I start crying, I ask myself, so what else? What else? I keep it going so I can get all of it out of me. And then, all right, kind of very simple, kind of magical.
Actually, one question is from me only. The thing is, nowadays teenagers are having conflicts about venting their emotional issues or not. Should they vent their emotional issues? Should they do the catharsis issues? Because they have so many trust issues and relationship problems and everything. So what advice do you want to give teenagers so that their hormones or the teenagers who are still in school, like in 9th grade or 10th grade or 12th grade, what advice do you what tips you want to give them to vent up their conflicts or emotions?
I get it. Well, one of the things I didn't mention is that you don't have to vent at the person that you're upset about or with. You do not have to you can do this all by yourself in your room by yourself. You don't need anything or anybody to practice some high emotional intelligence. It doesn't take anybody to vent. You can do it sitting right here. You don't even have to make any sound. You don't have to even change your face. I've done it before. You just feel it inside, and then you let it go. So you don't have to do it with the person that you're upset with. Find a safe, but it is helpful and it is useful to have some help. It is much easier if someone's encouraging you. The connection, like you were just saying, is critical to the whole thing. So it helps. It definitely helps. But you do not need anybody, and you do not need to do it to the person that you're upset with. So, does that help?
Yeah, of course. And some of the if participants have many questions, they can put it on chat box. Matt will answer it thoroughly. And due to the time constraint, we cannot ask as many as questions here. So it make it interactive, and you can put all your questions in the chat box. Thank you so much for your valuable time. Now I would like to welcome Dr. Sheikh Abdul Basir. He is a senior consultant neuropsychiatrist, founder, director of Mind Piper, with 28 years of experience in home ministry, Saudi and NHS, UK. Over to you, sir. Hello, Bashir, sir.
Hello, everybody. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Yeah, I should say that congratulate all the organizers and thank you for calling me. I'm here to actually learn with discussing, exchanging great ideas, and I should say I'm very happy to listen to those positive words by Matt Perlstein and Dr. Khalid. Excellent, excellent. I'm inspired sort of, and the best part of this thing I will say that I feel that that you have just expressed it, that yes, there is a lot of hope. You can spread that most of the conflicts, if you look into that is because of this emotional imbalance, and we really need of the hour is that understanding that emotional quotient or EQ. Okay, then, so basically if we look into the topic that somewhere there is a lot of talking about the children losing their education and the school should start or not, and in the way of attending the school if they're exposed to this dangerous virus. So I will, there is a lot of many things to talk discuss about it, but let myself be concentrate only on the mental health part, and that too in the children and adolescent, the teens you can say. So let us first examine that how it has this what is this COVID age, this dangerous world. So if I remember in India, if any one of you have seen that Jurassic Park movie, how it started, the director has beautifully shown that somebody is seeing the tremor in the glass of water. Something is huge is approaching. So for us, initially, it was somewhere in a foreign countries or something. Even there was a lot of jokes. Then the dinosaur came in. And now I can also define it like the thunderstorm. Initially, you were just hearing the sound, then the pitter patter, the rains, and now it is a thunderstorm and then the cloud burst, lot of water, and now it is entering your home. So one thing, two things happened here. Number one, actually, it is a very dangerous virus. It is affecting people. It is fatal. It is killing people. And slowly, initially, as far as the more days are passing on, we are in fact getting more bad result out of this virus. There are countries who are fighting well. There are countries who have fought well, and again cases are coming back. So it is like a war going on, and the situation is very fearful situation. So now let us see that this corona or COVID age, how it is affecting the children and the teens. As you see, that for each and every one, we had a three world. It is our family, it is your workplace, and it is your social circle. And just imagine for the kids, it is actually two world. It was his family and it is his school, and that is his social space. Now this corona age and the lockdown, his two world is totally completely gone. He's in the family, that child. Now one thing, when you look at the children, yes, they are very small and they are very vulnerable. They can understand, but at the same time, they cannot really comprehend the situation because they cannot really understand the situation properly. They feel the fear more than us, more than the adults. Now, one thing, uh, uh, Perlstein has just mentioned that they need a role model, and exactly that role model wise also they are getting more fearful. The adults around them are acting in fear, and it is transmitted to the children. So, what are the things happening is that number one, it started as a huge fear. Initially, people were so fearful that people were not even going out in the balcony in the fear of the disorder. But the scientific knowledge came slowly, and things is that at least we are still equipped that we cannot, if we cannot just get the virus out of the air, we can prevent it. There are some scientific ways. Now, one thing, in the meanwhile, apart from the coronavirus actually giving its devastating effect, but also there is lot of information. This information tsunami is also very dangerous. The children are exposed to many negative views and news every other day. And small children still, if they are exposed to the television and all that, and the teenager, they have their own gadgets to look into the social media. And all of them are full of, some of them are good news, but some of them are really bad news. Some of them are some conspiracy theory, something like this, and some unscientific thoughts. So all these are affecting them. So how it is affecting them? If you see that this particular situation is a huge stress for the humanity all over the world. I think never ever the world has exposed to such a calamity. Never ever. And we are into a very bad situation in many ways. Number one, in my country, the cases are increasing hugely. They say that 77,000 cases in a single day. Huge number of deaths. And who are our fighters? The doctors and the nurses and all that, the front line. People are dying. More than 300 of the frontline doctors are already dead. So anyway, I'm not here to dispense so many negative news, but what I'm trying to tell you here, that to make the people, those who are listening to me, to make ourselves aware that what our children are going through. So our children, their life is totally gone into upside down. So what's happening? They are restricted to few square feet in their house. Yes, they love their parents. They are like to be with their parents, but they are with those parents all the time. Now, one more thing, these parents with whom they are now, these parents are all highly stressed. And just after Corona, there is a new things came out, that is lockdown. So what happened? The parents are at home continuously. You cannot even go out for a walk in some places. And you cannot just go and eat out in the weekends. No, you cannot. I have seen videos of small children cried that asking for that weekend ice cream, and she's crying because she cannot go get that. Now the parents are working more. Why? You cannot get the helping hands as you used to get. So we have to do more household work. Even I did a lot. Then the parents, some of the parents, they are working from home. So now when they are working from home, then when they are working from with various gadgets, now suddenly they are putting more restriction on the kids. These kids already they are putting in a cage-like situation, and now you are telling, stop shouting, stop dancing, don't do that, don't do that, don't move. So what is happening? What you are putting on our children? Now another thing, we all are looking into the television. We all are discussing also that there is a date, and there is something like, in many of our discussions there is a discussion about how many dates or how many this and how many that negative issues. Nobody is also discussing that how many people are getting cured, how many people are coming back home with good news. But that has not been discussed. That has not been discussed. Now what's happening? These kids continuous exposed to this stress, that fear of death. For the first time, we used to worry about our kids when my kid go out on the motor road. I was afraid of that. Don't go there. But now you know that you are afraid even go out. You go out with your mask on. You come back. You wash. There is a huge ritual. You are trying to put even mask on the small children. Of course, it is not allowed to put mask on children below the 5 years age. But the whole there is a new things. Now one more issue is coming which is affecting the children. The lockdown has also affected economically. So the parents are going through economical meltdown, economical downgrading. They cannot provide the way they used to do. They cannot entertain the kids. They cannot take out the kids and all that. And if at all, it is affecting two ways. The kids, they are affecting two ways. Number one, if the parents are worried, they are transmitting that frustration on the kids. Second, if the parents are really economically distressed situation, they are restricting the food provided to the children. The children may not be getting the correct kind of food. Do you know that in India, in the schools, there is a provision called the midday meals for the kids? Some nutritious food has been supplied to the kids. For the poor kids, it's been stopped. Only in Kerala, it has been sent at home. The food has been supplied to the kids at home. Thank God. I would all the states should follow. So how the kids are affected? Number one, there is fear. Number two, there is parents at home. The parents are angry. They are frustrated. They are shouting at the kids. Maybe not all the parents. There are great parents as well. There are some parents. They are so much into distress themselves. They had gone into substance abuse. So they are drinking. They are taking some other substances. And the moment you take something else like that, so what will happen? You lose your mind. You do not know what to talk and what to do. You cannot act rationally. And that irrational thing is already putting on the children who are very vulnerable. And just imagine, at least when the schools are open, the children were out in the world where they are away from that abusive home. Now these children are more restricted in that abusive home for hours together and days together. The school has been closed in India already 5 months. And then new thing has started. The schools have started online. Now, when you want to start online, you need smart gadgets, costly gadgets. Many of the Indian families, they cannot afford that. I have at least knew some of the children who has committed suicide, feeling that I am left out because I do not have a gadget. So very sad. Second thing, now this continuous fever, they are bringing two types of changes in the children. One is the acute stress reaction. Like a mad dog is after you, you can run, but how long you can run? At some point in time, you will give up. So slowly what's happening, already in the adults, there is a hopelessness that we are not able to fight corona anymore. So that hopelessness maybe is transmitted to the children. Then one very big thing happened in India. Just after the lockdown, there is a huge migration. And these people, those who has migrated, many of them taken a very hard work, taking their children along for walking. So those children are affected. Now just imagine, this is, I'm talking about only normal children. What about the children with mental illness already? So those with mental health, the children with mental health or mental problems, they are, or special children with, let us say, autism and other children needing therapy, they're not getting their therapies. The hospitals which used to do that, they are changing to COVID hospitals. They are not able to they are not able to get those medicines which were supplied free from the hospital. No, not at all. So now there is a huge, very, very bad condition. And another thing which I am like to tell you here, think about the teenage people. The teenage people, they are more intelligent, they are grown up. So they can in fact get more information, and because they can get more information, they are getting more bad information. Many of the teenagers are so afraid, they are just cocooned themselves at the home. So they are going through a fear psychosis. And there are children who are, let us say, in contrast, totally careless. They are telling that nothing will happen. They are going out and taking a risk. They can they are in a risk. What are the disorders these children can suffer, especially during COVID time? One of them, of course, the commonest of them is the anxiety disorder. So how the anxiety disorder will manifest? First of all, it affecting is the sleep. In this lockdown period, where there is no regular school, the most common thing which is affected in the children is their sleep cycle is gone. Many of the children, they are sleeping late, they are sleeping late, they are waking up late, they are eating in already disordered time. That will have an effect on their body. There is huge fear, and some of them can actually has gone into depression. And sadly, this particular teenage group, they are highly vulnerable to depression, and in the depression, this particular group is highly vulnerable to commit suicide. I'm a practicing psychiatrist. Unfortunately, I have seen at least 2 cases where a teenage he has committed already, and one of them has been saved. So also the children, those who are very special children, they can, as I have told you, that even to know that if the children are suffering, they need treatment, they need to see doctor. Where are the doctors? They cannot see the doctor because of this lockdown. You cannot even go from one district to another district. And one big thing happened with the lockdown, that is the separations. There are parents who went for a visit to a different city. He stayed there for whole 4 months. I know a friend doctor who was doing locum job in New Zealand. He went for 3 weeks. He stayed there for 3 months. And there are parents who had, suppose, are on frontline duty. I know doctors who are going and staying in the hospital for months together. What about the children? The children are suffering. The children are separated from their parents. There are many adults who are diagnosed positive. So they are into quarantine for 15 days. Even if at home, they cannot touch their children. And also you have seen those sad situations where children has gone to meet their loving grandparents with a cellophane in the middle, so that there is no contamination. Then there is another big thing. Now another big happening in Corona is the death is really true. It is happening. So in a family where the death is happening, what's happening to the children? They're also going through a grief or bereavement reaction. It's a very, very sad happening going on. Now, I should not go into exactly detail that each of the symptoms or what are the name of the diagnosis, no. But one thing is very, very clear, that our children are in a highly stressful situation, along with their parents as well. Instead of pushing them to the school where there is more risk to infection, we should take more care of their mental health. Now, for the care of the mental health, we need not look at the government or those things always. Many of the things we need to do, as our Dr. Khalid and Mr. Palestine has just told, what we can do. So I tell the parents 2 ways to manage. Number one, the parents has to be a role model. Even if there is a lot of fear, the parents has to stay calm. In front of the children, they need to stay calm, very calm. And at the same time, they should not give false information to the children. The children are very, very intelligent. They are already correcting information. If you do not give them the correct information, they will try to correct that wrong information from somewhere else. So it is always better that instead of telling them nothing will happen or etc., let us talk to them. Let us tell them how to wash the hands properly. We can tell them how to put on the mask properly. We can tell them, in spite of so many negative things, we can do so many good things. So what are the good things for the small children you can do? Very good thing that with the children, you make a very particular routine. That particular routine which was there during the school time should not be changed now. The waking time should be the same. The eating time should be the same. So what you can do, of course, some schools have started and they're giving online classes. Apart from that, the other time, you should have routine for the kids. There should be all activity time as well. You can also play with children, sit down with board games, sit down with, there is any song performance activities. You can bring out the old albums and bring out their old pictures, and you can have a very fun time and more bonding time, you can say. In fact, you can put the children into household work in a fun way. Like, let us have a picnic. Let us, you cut the vegetables. You put on the, you wash the utensils. They will do. They will talk to them like they are also responsible, and they will take that responsibility very well. For the teenagers, the situation is a bit more different. For the teenagers, because you see, already they think that I am adult, and there lies the problem. They are big, but their brain is not as intelligent as the adults, as planning as the adults. What they will do? They may take risks. Now they can be also very vulnerable emotionally. So for example, they cannot, these teenagers, they are highly into their peer group, not like adults. So with their peer group, they're missing. They are actually not able to meet their groups where they're hanging out, this and that. They cannot. So what they're doing, they're getting more into the internet. Now, internet is very good. You see, I should thank internet that we are meeting here. And I should thank internet that this internet is spreading this knowledge all over the world. Those who are interested, and they are free of cost. Now, this same internet also take them into different routes. They can go into game addiction. They can go into pornographic addiction. They can be into making friendship with someone who is actually acting as a teenager there and making friend with him, and into more complication and all that. Now, apart from that, many of the teenagers, they are very restless. They have, they wanted to escape this situation, stressful in a shortcut, and they try these substances. And now with substances, I also remember that suppose some teenagers were already taking substances regularly, the lockdown closed everything. So do you know that the moment you stop any substances you are taking regularly, there's a huge, it can be a life-threatening situation. That is the withdrawal symptoms. That has to be taken care of. Now, as far as the taking care of the teenagers, what we parents can do? We parents can do, number one thing is we should respect them. We should discuss with them like adults. We should sit down with them. That what is the situation? We should together plan a strategy. How you can do, what not to do. Okay, let's go outside. But you should take all these precautions. And together, instead of constantly, nagging at them, you can actually appreciate them. A bit of appreciation is a huge way. I was very lucky in my childhood to have some very appreciative teachers and very appreciative parents where I am today. So apart from these things, I should say that as our two very esteemed speakers have already told you, yeah, as a parents, what we can do is listen. And in fact, I feel so that in the future we'll come out of it. I'm that hopeful. 100% will come out of this COVID era in a healthy way. We'll learn a lot and we'll make a better world. But let us always, all of us, remember that this will be remembered as a beautiful family time. Never before we had so much time for our kids. So thank you all. If any questions, please, our presenter, you can pass them out to me, and if you want me to answer now, I am ready.
Don't raise your kids to have more than you had. Raise them to be more than you were. Thank you so much, Bashir sir, for your wonderful tips, and I hope everyone can apply this in their daily lives for handling all the kids, teenagers, and people who are stressed out with their daily life during this pandemic. If you have any queries or questions related to any speaker, you can put it on chat box so that the respective speaker can answer your questions accordingly. Thank you so much, sir. Our next guest of honor is Dr. Shritama Mitra Ghosh. Dr. Shritama Mitra Ghosh is PhD in Applied Psychology, certified psychiatric counselor from Indian Psychiatric Society, Calcutta. Currently attached with HM Education Center as assistant teacher, psychology, and school counselor. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Nandini, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Okay, thank you. So, very good evening to all of you. It's very pleasant feeling, and I am very thankful to the organizer, especially Dr. Khalid sir, for giving me the opportunity to share my point of views in this international platform. I would also like to my school, that is HM Education Center, for their continuous support. So with due respect to the honorable keynote speaker, Mr. Matt, and guest of honor, Dr. Basir sir, I would like to share my point of views on education as a means to improve mental health and reducing worry. Can you share the PPT, Nandini ma'am?
Ma'am, wait for just a second. I'm starting the PPT. Is it visible to you, ma'am?
Yes. Okay. So in these times of difficulty, actually it is a very normal for children and other family members to have strong reactions such as feeling sad, irritable, confused, having sleeping disorders, physical reactions, and any fear of the unknown. So kids appear to be responding thoughtfully to this COVID-19 pandemics. Sudden new challenges thrust upon them. There are one survey, and by reaching this survey, out of the 20 children from age group 8 to 16 years whose relatives are scattered across the country, and their observations show much thought about resilience. So it's very clear to all of you that now we are going to know that what is the actual meaning of the education. Next slide, please. So according to dictionary term, the education we actually known about this from the bookish knowledge, any bookish knowledge or any degree for certain concerned academic syllabus and all the gradation like this. But it is the most powerful weapon which can use actually to change the world. And most of us say that children learn from books like physics, maths, history, and many more, but that is not learning. That is only the acquiring. So it leads definitely a very good job, but not enough to live in a meaningful and valuable life. So to progress the society, develop and modify behaviors in life, in very long process actually, education is beyond earning degrees more than bookish knowledge. So in this pandemic situation, parents or caregivers must be concentrated to inculcate moral values, positive thinking regarding the attitude also, helping others, that is share and care attitude, building ethical values in their children. So only the formula regarding maths, chemistry, the history of literature, yes, these are very much important to know about our culture and technology, but that is not more than that, to know how to socialize with other persons, respect the elders, and the do's and don'ts. So I think this is the high time that parents be careful to help their child to acquire these knowledges. That is the meaning of true education, and it will surely become successful in their life. So in creative areas also, parents focus on the interest of their children, and they also engage themselves for discovering the high talents. So out of the bookish knowledge, engage themselves some real life problem solving, the processes for their proper development and mental health, obviously. Next slide, please. So now the controlling the emotional balance, reactions are very much dependent of education. There is some another finding is based on this area, it can be hypothesized that low education is associated with a lack of psychological and psychosocial resources and a higher number of daily hassles, which actually in turn mediate the relationship between the education, depressive symptoms, and PMH, that is positive mental health. So, sharing stories to the children is very important way of communication through which able to give them a lesson on the goal setting. There are some sort of books like I Can't Sit Still. This book is basically on ADHD. The parents and the child go through this book and they just learn how patience can be developed to handle this child. So parents also sharing their past life stories, which actually motivate them to do something new from the regular monotonous task. One thing that kids and teens need to hear on repeat is that all emotions are okay. There is nothing like that. It is a wrong emotion. It is a right way out of the of your feelings and emotion. No, that is not like that. It is actually you give some opportunity to that child. So please feel free and please don't hesitate and please talk to me. This is the main thing. You talk about your triggers. It's already Bashista told. So now the resilience is an important life skill that all parents and teachers should focus on throughout the children. And when children have resilience, they open to learn because they believe that they can learn. And when a children learn without resilience, then critical learning and self-development is time is very lost. So Bashir sir already told that there is a RPG, that is resilience, perseverance, and grit or goal. And I just think that resilience, perseverance, and goal setting and the three interrelated link up concept. So instead of pushing for understanding right away, it will be better to expose them to an environment that values learning. So the experience is important for themselves. So we have to learn. Okay. Specifically, there is empirical research suggesting that sense of control, resilience, and the ability to delay the gratification and the amount of cultural activities are associated with the educational level and also influence mental health. Next slide, please. Yeah. So it is evident that gamification can have positive impact for health and well-being related interventions. Thus, there are 19 papers regarding gamification on health and well-being. Out of 59% reported positive, 41% mixed effects. So in home, parents guide their children how to learn by coloring objects through different colored worksheets, and parents use these game mechanisms in non-gaming environments with the objective of enhancing child learning. A lot of studies over years have shown that children's learning increases as a result of playing computer games. These studies assert that children learn more from playing and carrying out hands-on activities. Boom Writer, there is a famous game. It actually offers opportunity for kids to create stories and build upon their abilities through online collaboration. So going through the gamification and personalized learning, which are basically adaptive learning technology used to assign human or digital resources to learn based on their unique needs. So you have to allow the students to see the videos, and they can mute or pause the video, and there is any question answer session they can ask in the online session, which is actually done in present virtual learning. But parents may be aware for this situation, these gamification and personalized learning not leading to the addiction for mobile. Okay, this is very important thing. So in the next slide, please. So whenever this is a time, actually parents suddenly find themselves in the driver's seat for their children education and their mental health hand in hand. So there should be a productive learning which can build positive mental health. bakes expectation and one step more always motivate children to do further. And there is some virtual parent coaching which actually describe the maintenance of social connection through hosting free applications also. So children may consider this time to be similar to long school breaks or any vacation. So first of all, you set a schedule for the weekdays and weekends. Do their best if there are plans for each day. It is best to have a regular wake up time. That is already said Dr. Bashir. Wake up time and bedtime. That is same as previous school days. This is very important. And children have a list of subjects and activities for the day also. So we actually taught the children that incorporate with the life situation, like maths and science can be incorporated into cooking and meal preparation. For example, what happens to vegetables when they are heated, or at what temperature does water boil? So these are the incorporated in our daily life. So by keeping active in physically as well as mentally, get involved by taking walks and playing games with your child. And social contact is also very much important for child's mental health. Next slide, please. Yeah. So it's best for the parents to provide rational explanations about COVID-19 and help maintain an appropriate concept. To help manage anxiety in children during this pandemic situation, it makes certain to provide accurate information from reliable sources. According to study by one of the associate professors in the Department of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, children say that they find local news that they do not understand to be more frightening than scary fairy tales or even horror movies. So it's obviously very considerable that substance use, sibling fights, tension, demoralization, and depression all can be the mental stress of the children during this situation. So utilize education a proper means which actually reduce the worry. So there are some resources and there are some institution and organization which actually help the child and parents both if they are in given any problematic situation. That means the National Association of School Psychologists, National Child Traumatic Stress Network, National Public Radio, Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, and UNICEF, obviously. So I think in this pandemic situation, we have to cope up with the mental health, but along with the education. In a nutshell, I would like to suggest that don't think about this situation partially without education. Rather, we have to think about education and mental health go hand in hand, and we cover up all the problematic phases of life with proper education and being strong in mentally healthy. Last slide, please. So mental illness and mental health, physical health, educations, they are very much interrelated. So in case of you see the sticker books, you know that the in case of token economy and star maker sticker book, here the work of puzzles and helping cooking, that is already Bashi said told. These are very important things that you can share with your children, and this sharing attitude and caring attitude and this playing attitude is very much important. So I think I would cover all these my topics, and thank you so much for listening. That's all from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. The more risk you allow the children to make, the better they learn to look after themselves. Thank you so much, Shritama ma'am, for your wise word and the tips you have given to us and the teachers and all the participants to deal with. It is really helpful to all of us. If you have any questions, you can put it on chat box, as we have this earlier instruction given to you. Next, I would like to welcome Ms. Bhagyashree Kar, RCI certified clinical psychologist, has done her MPhil from SCB Medical College, Cuttack, and pursuing her PhD from Ranchi Institute of Neuropsychiatry and Allied Sciences, RINPAS, Ranchi. Currently working as a private practitioner in Ranchi, she has a wide range of experience in cognitive behavior therapy, virtual therapy, sex therapy, and dealing with other children and teenager group. I would like to request Bhagyashree Kar ma'am to give her opinion on this matter in this webinar. Over to you, ma'am.
First of all, thank you to all the organizers for including me and giving me the platform to share my experiences. So let me first share my slide. Hopefully my slides are visible.
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
Yes.
You can continue.
Okay. Good evening, all the participants, and now I'm starting my presentation. Today's topic, it's not children's education we should worry about, it's their mental health. And topic to be discussed by me is prevention is better than cure. That is presented by me, Bhagyashree Kar, clinical psychologist. So my sequence of presentation will be like this. We will go through about child and adolescent mental health, what is child and adolescent, and then mental health challenges of found in child and adolescent psychiatry. Then mental health issues, what are the issues we are what are the issues child and children and adolescents are facing nowadays, and it is a part, these issues are in their day-to-day life, they are handling all these things. Then issues are there, so there must be some solution. So psychological management, as a clinical psychologist, I will be focusing on the psychological management part. And then few research studies, these studies are conducted by me. Some are published and some are just presented in national and international platforms. So let's start. Child and adolescent mental health is the capacity to achieve and maintain optimum psychological functioning and well-being. It is directly related to the level reached and competency achieved in psychological and social functioning. This is the definition given by World Health Organization, known as WHO. Next, child and adolescent developmental studies. As we all know, these developmental studies and researches hold an important place in psychology and specifically in developmental psychology, as their developmental sequences, their developmental achievements, milestones, everything holds a very important part in every aspect of their life. Then adolescent is the phase of life stretching between childhood and adulthood. As I have already been, this is the phase of adolescent is the phase which is in between childhood and adulthood. And again, I will not go much more details about this issue, because adolescents have their own characteristics, own problems, own issues. So that is a different part. WHO defines adolescents as individual in their age group of 10 to 19 years. Now come to the mental health disorders in children are generally defined as delays or disruptions in developing age-appropriate thinking. Yes, this term, age-appropriate, according to their age, thinking, behavior, social skills, and regulation of emotions. These things actually, few have already, Khalid sir discussed that what is this mental health issues in adolescent and children. So this is what, then these problems are distressing. Yes, these problems are quite distressing to the children who is having those things, and disrupt their ability to function well at home as well as in school and in other social situations. If we will go to the statistics worldwide, 10 to 20, this statistics is again taken from WHO record. Worldwide, 10 to 20% of children and adolescents experience mental health disorders. The major, okay, this is the chairman's, these are the mental health issues. Now, what happens? The major challenges in children and child and adolescent mental health is they have that stigma. Stigma is attached to them. Isolation. Many families, many students, many children are isolated due to as they have mental health issues. Discrimination. Yes, discrimination is there. Later on, I will be discussing each of these points in very detailed way. Lack of awareness and lack of healthcare facilities. Yes, lack of awareness. If my child is having mental health issues, where to approach? Parents don't have this means awareness. Teachers don't have that awareness, that where nowadays quite many teachers are getting aware that awareness, but there is still a lack of awareness prevailing, as we don't know where to approach, whom to consult, where to go. And of course, the healthcare facility is also not up to mark to have that type of we can provide a facility to those children who are having mental health issues. Because sometimes what in my practice, what I have felt, that those things are actually taken very lightly, like, okay, that child is having some, he or she is mischievous, so these things are happening. They don't take it as a concern. So when we talk about child and adolescent, I'm just introducing you this picture which actually come to our mind when we talk about child and adolescents. A child or someone having an adolescent is studying or in a school setup, we only visualize this. So the next slide I will be presenting, as I always present these slides, to remember that there is an invisible group, what I call them, because they are present, but we never recognize, we give less priority to them, or we actually make them invisible for us. So this is the group we give less priority. When it comes to mental health, or we discuss about child and adolescent psychiatry, there we always find that if there is discussion about mentally challenged, or we have that special need children, then only we discuss about these children or adolescent. But why not? These are also child, and they also come under child and adolescent group. So we should be addressing their issues in every platform. And this is the most means invisible. This is the group which is invisible. We don't consider them. We consider them as born adults. Even in many of my lectures, I told this, because we consider them to be very manipulative, very they have that qualities, those which, because of which we make them invisible. But in my opinion, every child is special, every adolescent is having their issues, so we should be addressing each and every one without discrimination. There are two facts I want to put here actually because of this things. The International Day of Street Children is celebrated every year on 12th April since it was launched in 2011. But I don't think much of us are aware of this. The World Day Against Child Labor is again held in July 12 every year. But again, if we will open our if we want to see those things, we can find many child labors in our society. Okay, let's move to the issues of children and adolescent. The major issues are study, that is lack of attention and concentration, lack of motivation. Then comes time. Time is very, actually everybody have problem with time. We don't have much time. Always we are busy. So children are also having problems. They don't know how to manage time. That's why the poor time management, lack of organization is mainly contributing to their struggle with time. Diet. Diet is actually nowadays fast food chain. Fast food. These children and adolescents are quite attracted towards fast food. So frequent consumption of fast food, high consumption of sweetened beverages, all these things are giving a very, and all this diet issues is giving to, means why I included this diet, because according to their diet, nowadays we are having we are facing that obesity problems. So obesity, and indirectly that is linked to many other, like self issues. They have problem in self identity, self esteem. They have low self esteem due to obesity, lack of confidence. Many of these psychological issues can be related to this diet problem. And finally, the psychological issues, which we are here to discuss. Actually, I'm here. So stress, anxiety, depression, all these things. Let me give you a more clear picture. Stress and anxiety, yes, adolescent and children have, means they suffer like from stress and anxiety due to their academic. There is this term academic stress. Yes, they have academic stress. They have other stresses, like they have to be competent enough to sit in that class, because nowadays though punishment is rare, but still they have that self consciousness that prevalence that force them to have that academic stress. There is exam phobia. They feel that they have anger issues, schizophrenia. Child schizophrenia is again a very rare, means very difficult task, not rare but difficult one to diagnose because of their complexity. And temper tantrum is there, self-harm. Yes, this in these days I'm actually having quite few students, many children who are complaining of the self-harm. They actually go for self-harm to reduce their anxiety. Conduct disorder, they have depression and suicidal ideations. Suicidal attempts are also there in adolescent group, and children, even children have this tendency, post-traumatic symptoms. And finally, I will come to this substance abuse addiction part. That substance abuse, nowadays quite many things are available as substance, like dendrite, they have iodex, they have whitener, and deodorants, everything. These are the potential substances. They are, you don't have to go for alcohol and all these things. They are the children and adolescents are addicted to all these things also. There is again one thing, one tablet, N10 tablet, that is also quite means available in market, which many youngsters are addicted to. And few new age addictions like technology addiction, mobile addiction, shopping addiction. Yes, some adolescents are addicted to shopping addiction. And this type of new age addictions are there. Obsessive compulsive disorder. Yes, when it is there are many people says that in record we have, actually in our studies we say obsessive compulsive disorder in children is very rare, but no, we have to find out. Yes, we can't diagnose them, as we can't give a stamp on them, but yes, there are obsession we should address in children. There are various types of obsessions. To give an example, one of my children, one I was who was consulting me, actually told, I'm having constant fear. What fear? That thought moves inside my head, that if I will use this pen or that pen. Actually, this obsession continues for hours, which bothers him and hinders his academic growth, because he is unable to read or write, because he is having this type of continuous obsessions. Next, what areas that get affected by all these things? Family, yes. Uh, Due to these things, mental health issues, family violence, actually parents start judging each other, that why this means, if they started abusing sometimes their kids, that okay, if I will scold him or I will beat him up, he or she will be he or she will not go for all these things like substance, or not think of setting ideal or all these things. And lack of acceptance, people, we as a parent, sometimes we don't we are not able to accept that our children or adolescent child, our child is having some mental health issues. We are not ready to accept that issues. Then frequent judgments and comparison with other kids, other children, that actually hampers, it makes worse that mental health issue. Then comes society. Yes, society is quite judgmental, and due to mental health issues, sometimes children and adolescents withdraw themselves, that there is social withdrawal, and lack of acceptance from society is there. They don't means we many we have seen many people are not accepting that, okay, this, if there is a child with mental illness, they won't be accepting them as moving around as like other normal. So means we label those children as normal. We can't accept those children to move around. Stigma is there, that sometimes some stigma is there, that this is the curse which has come from the last birth problem, like they have curse from their previous birth. That's why they are having this mental health issue in this birth period. So these are the things. In school, there is lack of cooperation. If we will start, means there are nowadays starting, many schools have started that combined classes with some mental health children and normal children. But now, even then also, parents are not cooperative or not cooperating for such schools. They are not ready to accept that their normal kids can read with such students or such kids. Adjustment issues, yes, when there is a normal, which is average children, and children having mental health issues, there will be academic differences, there will be academic difference in their achievement. So that adjustment and these things actually lead to adjustment issues. Physical health, yes, lack of when there is lack of acceptance and there is discrimination, there will be less, means people will focus less on these type of children, and they will have physical issues, like they will be malnourished, they will be having problem in their hygiene, and ultimately mental health. They will have conflict. Discrimination and conflict leads to this type of, they will judge themselves, they will have lack of confidence, they will be judging constantly that if I'm right or wrong, and they will have self-esteem issues. So all these things contributed in, when this areas, many areas are covered due to only one problem, that is mental health issues. So the present scenario, if I will go for the present scenario, this is only worsening the situation. It is not. And so we must go for the management part. And while I'm talking about management, I'm talking about psychological management issues. Psychological management or treatment can help to change thinking patterns and improve coping skills, so that individuals will be better equipped to deal with life stresses and conflicts. Psychological management actually helps in the helps in changing and prior to that, understanding and changing the thinking pattern and improving the coping skills. So how we can help them? First of all, assessment. then diagnosis, and then management. This is the procedure. Assessment doesn't mean always we have to be with a proper standardized tool or anything. We have to understand, like if this child is telling that I'm having sad mood, crying spell is there, I'm having guilt feeling that I'm always a failure, I'm not Germans, you can judge, you can assess that something is problematic. So always assessment doesn't mean you have to be with a standard tool. So this is what. And diagnosis again, I will tell you, it's not that labeling someone. A diagnosis is to help you to move which type of management you can apply to that kid or apply it for that child and adolescent. So management will be always symptomatic management. What symptoms that child or adolescent is complaining of, we should be going symptomatically. First of all, psychological managements, where we have to go for psychoeducation. We have to psychoeducate the person, means that child or that adolescent, that what is the knowledge about the problem and illness, about the means illness, and knowledge about the management, like what illness, what are the areas affected by this problem, and he or she is not alone in this thing. There are many persons having such type of complaints. So this actually give a a hope to them. And the procedure of management, that is, I'm not here with a magic stick to remove everything at once. We continuously, we means as a therapist and that child, we both continuously work towards the growth and achieve that. You will be manageable. You will be manageable with all these issues. So this is what actually psychoeducation is about. Awareness, yes, awareness of the incident, awareness of the disease can actually help us to prevent it, to cure it, to manage it. So we have to be aware, make that person aware, so that he or she can take steps towards removing all these things. Then there are psychotherapies. Yes, there are a wide range of therapies such as behavior therapy, CBT, and many things to which actually help in mental health issues, emotional challenges, and some psychiatric disorders. Psychotherapies actually help. And counseling. Counseling actually helps in the change in the thinking, feeling, and behavior. And this is actually a two-way process. It is a process between collaborative process between counselor and client. There are few, I have included few very common intervention techniques we actually use in as psychotherapy. And few are very interesting one actually. For basically it helps quite a great in children and adolescents, like relaxation technique. In relaxation technique we can go for mindfulness, meditation, deep breathing, stretching. Yes, stretching is also a relaxation technique. CBT, there are various types of CBT, first generation, second generation, third generation, like acceptance and commitment therapy. Yes, ACT. It is a very nice therapy to apply for child and adolescent group. Play therapy. Play therapy is a wonder. Actually, it helps a lot. Virtual reality therapy for phobias, for specific phobias. It helps a lot. Laughter therapy. This is very much effective in adolescent depression, child depression, because you just give them a quite what I will say, a platform to laugh and understand the importance of how you can mold your feelings very nicely and very quick way. Anger management. Yes, anger is very a issue, very much a issue nowadays. So we want that children and adolescents need anger management. Stress, yes, as I told, stress is there. So stress management, we should go for stress management. Music therapy is there. As children and adolescents are quite attracted towards music, we can use that as a therapy. And individual therapy is also helpful. Again, group therapy. Yes, group therapy, sometimes knowing that we are not alone, there are many other people like us with same type of issues. It gives a boosting that, okay, we can achieve, we can overcome all these things, we can manage everything, manage our mental health issues. And this is the research. Actually, I have included only 2 research studies. One is application of acceptance and commitment therapy in improvement of attention and concentration among among the school-going adolescent. Application of acceptance and commitment therapy in improvement of attention and concentration with management of academic stress among school-going adolescent. This is the study actually presented on the platform of 44th National Annual Conference of Indian Association of Clinical Psychologists, and second is the paper published already, Management of Emotional and Behavioral Problems Among School-Going Adolescents, a pre and post intervention analysis. You can also find the follow-up analysis. I have already published that. These are the 2 researches actually done by me. So I just included those to have a give a idea that there are many researches you can go and find in net. And thank you to patiently listening to me.
Thank you, Bhagasuri.
Thank you
Have
so
a
much, ma'am. Yes, sir.
No, okay, go ahead.
Hello, Khalid sir, you want to say something?
No, go ahead.
If
It's
we
okay.
want our children to move, sure, sir. If we want our children to move mountain, we first have to let them get out of their chairs. Thank you so much, Bhagyashree ma'am, for that informative session that you have tell us about how to manage those children, how to detect those children, and how to deal with them. And thank you so much for your informative tips. Now, I would like to welcome our next invited speaker, Dulmoni Das. Dulmoni Das is mental health professional from Assam, India. She has experience in working in diverse clinical and academic settings in the field of mental health in different parts of Northeast India. She has a master's in clinical psychology and another master's in mental health nursing. She has qualified the prestigious Indian Council of Medical Research examination, that is ICMR-JRF, and pursuing PhD in clinical psychology from Guwahati University. Currently, she is working as a lecturer of psychiatric nursing at BSc Nursing College, Silchar, Assam. I would like to request Mrs. Dulmoni Das to come over and give an informative session in this webinar. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Nandini, for introducing me. And I would like to thank respected Khalid sir for giving me the opportunity of speaking here in this session today. Also, I would like to thank Mr. Matt for sharing his knowledge and experience. So I am going to talk a little bit about digital addiction today. So let me just try sharing my screen here. Yeah. Is my slide visible?
Not yet.
No, ma'am,
No.
it's not visible.
Okay, I have.
Just we should wait for some minute, I think.
You have to choose which screen you want to share, which application on your machine.
भाई हम ही शेयर कर देते तुम्हारा, क्यों मेरा इतना इज्जत का कचरा कर रही हो?
Yeah, is it visible?
Not yet.
Not yet, ma'am.
Okay, I think it is taking some time.
Maybe stop screen sharing and then start again and then choose your PowerPoint.
Yeah, actually, the connection is slow. I believe that's why it's not coming. It's not opening.
Can simply speak, Dulmani.
Ma'am, if you want to, it's visible
Yes,
right now.
we can see.
Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
My presentation.
Yes,
Is
ma'am,
it
your
visible?
presentation is visible. You can
Because
continue
I am
now.
not, because to me it's not visible actually. I am not able to see anything. So yeah, okay, just let me introduce then.
Ma'am, I think there is an issue in your network. So if you want me to present your slide, then
Yeah.
I can present it for you. You can simply speak about that.
Okay, okay. So
Sure.
can you please?
Please
Can you
stop
share
sharing your screen. I will screen it for you.
Okay. Okay, I have stopped it. Has it stopped?
Still showing yours, Didi.
Hello, Nandini. Yeah, has it stopped?
No, ma'am, not yet. I think there is a network. Yeah, it stopped right now. And I am sharing your PPT right now. You can start. Is it visible to
Okay.
you?
No, it's not visible. I'm not able to see anything right now, actually.
Okay, I think you can continue still. It's visible.
Yeah, to me, okay. To me, actually, it's not visible. I don't know. I think my connection has got interrupted.
Exactly, ma'am. Your connection is a little bit slow. You can continue, but
I think it will be better if ma'am leave and join.
hello, Dulmoni ma'am, can you hear me? Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, I think she's having something serious in her network. She has a serious issue in her network. So we can call her after a while. I think she'll leave and we can wait for a second. I think she is sharing her screen. We can wait for 2 minutes, I think, if anyone don't have any problem.
you want to just switch to the next
Yeah,
speaker?
she joined right now.
Do you want to
Ma'am, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you, Nandini.
Now you
Can
can
you?
see the screen. Dulmoni
Hello?
ma'am, can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Can screen?
Yes,
is
yes, yes.
screen
I
is
can
visible?
see. I can see.
Yeah, you can.
Yes,
continue.
yes, I can
you
see.
continue. Huh.
Okay.
Okay, I will start then. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Nandini, for for managing it this way. Okay. So let me begin now. So I'm going to talk about digital addiction. Now, digital addiction, although it is not something new, it is something that has been always there. But people have started realizing the importance of this addiction just some years back. So I would just like to introduce. Hello,
Yes, yes.
Nandini, can you see?
Yeah, we can.
Hello.
Nandini, share.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you
Ma'am,
are
you're
audible.
audible. You're audible.
Yeah.
We are
Okay.
changing the next slide.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Yeah. So what I would like to say here is, okay, yeah. Okay. No. So what I want to say here is that, first of all, among every 10 children, no, please give the previous slide. I'm not done. Please switch to the previous slide.
Yes, ma'am. It is. Our slides are visible to you.
Nandini?
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes.
Hello,
Nandini, am I audible?
ma'am.
Please switch
Dulmoni
to the
ma'am.
previous slide. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the previous slide
Now
only.
it's visible.
Ha.
Yes, you are audible.
Okay.
So what I want to say is that among every 10 children, there is one child who has some form or the other of digital addiction. Yes, okay. Yeah. So among 10 children, there is always one child who has some form or the other of digital addiction. And why is it important for us to know that child who is suffering from digital addiction? It is because excessive use of technology is seen to be associated with damages of studies for the child, home environment, including psychological functions, which we will be discussing in detail later. So next slide. Now, to define digital
Hello.
Hello.
I think she has some serious network issue in her place. I think she is not visible also.
Yeah.
Okay. We can do one thing. We can call her at the end when she will be totally prepared. I would like to request another speaker to call if Khalid sir give me permission so that I can call another one.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Call.
Hello.
Okay. Hello, ma'am.
Hello. Yeah.
Dulmoni ma'am, you are there.
Yeah. So to continue with the slides, yeah. So digital addiction is the overuse. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, I'm here.
Go on. I can hear you.
So digital addiction is the overuse or excessive use of technology related devices to an extent that the child is unable to reduce or stop the use despite its negative consequences. What is important here to understand is overuse. It is not the normal use. It is the excessive, where the yeah. Hello? Yeah, I am.
Ma'am.
I'm there. Hello?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. If you are actually, there is a serious network problem
Hello?
in place.
We can hear you.
So I think Sir,
Hello, Nandini.
ma'am, please continue. We can hear you.
Yeah, okay. Okay, Dolmani, continue. We can hear you easily.
Dulmoni ma'am, if you can hear me, there is a serious network issue in your place, I think, and our voices are reaching late to you. So I think you can continue with your slide if you can hear me properly.
I think call Sweta. She'll be coming late. Again.
Hello.
Yeah, Dolmani. Okay.
Hello.
Yes, we hear you.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible. You
Hello.
are totally
Am I audible, sir?
Yeah,
Yes.
audible. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I'm extremely sorry because of my network issues.
No problem. Go ahead.
Can I continue, sir?
Okay, sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Extremely sorry for the network issues. Yeah. So I was saying that basically what we have to understand here in the definition is overuse. It is not the normal use, but it is over or excessive use. Following which, the next thing we have to understand here is any technology. It's not necessarily that it is only mobile or it is laptop or it is any other form. It can be anything, any technological device which can be connected with internet has the potential of causing digital addiction. Now the next thing is unable to reduce or stop in spite of the negative consequences. They want to stop, but they are not able. They don't have the control over the impulse to stop the addiction, to stop the digital use. So that is important. Next is the negative consequences. They are aware, the children are aware that it is negatively impacting them. Be it their physical health, be it their mental health, it is impacted. But they are still not able to understand that and accordingly stop the use of internet. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Nandini?
Didi, you might want to try turning off your video so your bandwidth will help. On the next slide now.
You got
Hello.
Did you see the next slide? I have already changed it. Ma'am, the slides are the slides visible to us?
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
Ma'am, please
Okay.
switch off your video.
With my
Switch off your video and just have switch off your video.
Yes. Now I can see. I think my network is very slow. Yeah.
Please.
So addiction, it comes from the word addictor, which means bound to or enslaved by. But here we are talking about behavioral addiction. Behavioral addiction is totally different from substance addiction. Yes, I am. Yeah.
Sorry for all the technical issues and the problem we are facing due to the bad weather of due to the bad network issue for Dulmoni Das ma'am. So I request Dr. Shweta Bhakta Ghosh. She is a school counselor and Masters in Psychology from Kolkata. Currently, she is working as a school counselor in Aditya Birla Group of Academy. And I would like to request her to come over and do some interactive sessions. Ma'am, over to you.
Hello, thank you, Nandini. First of all, I would like to, hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Okay. First of all, I would like to show my gratitude, and I'd like to thank you, Dr. Khalid sir, and of course, Mr. Matt, for giving me this opportunity to share my views and my observations, why mental health is important. Let me share my screen first. Is it visible?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So today I would like to talk about the mental health importance in school education. Now, so first, let us all understand what is mental health. Of course, we all have a vague idea of mental health, and we sure understand its importance. That is the reason we all have joined here today in this webinar. So if I have to put it in very simple words, mental health refers to successful mental activity, which includes productive daily activities and maintaining fulfilling relationships with others. And also the abilities to adapt to changes with stresses and cope with the stresses. Now, when the brain is gone haywire, we may see 6 functional disruptions, and those are thinking ability, perception, emotion, signaling, physical, and behavioral. And if one or more of these symptoms significantly disrupts a person's life, then it is said that the person is having some mental disorders or mental illness. Now, as we all know, there are various causes of mental health illness. And if we have to, and those are complicated as well. Now, if we have to cluster the causes, then we can say there are mainly 3 main domains. First one is genetics. Well, in which we may say inheriting mental disorders lies in, and where certain genes may increase the risk of developing mental health illness. The next one would be environmental, in which the environmental exposures before birth lies in, like exposure to environmental stressors, inflammatory conditions, then toxins, alcohol, or drugs while in the womb. And the next one would be neurodevelopment, in which the neural networks involved neurotransmitters are impaired. The functions of the nerve receptors and nerve systems change, leading to mental disorders. Now, we have a tentative idea of the age of diagnosis of major mental health disorders. And we see that many of the mental disorders begin at the exact time that youth are in or entering in the high school or junior high or even in university. As the picture shows, like in ADHD, it can be diagnosed between 1 to 10 years of age. Anxiety disorders can be diagnosed between 5 to 25 years of age. Then there's OCD, which can be diagnosed between 5 to 30 years of age. And the youth, when the youth is entering their adolescence, we may see substance use disorder. Then there is major depressive disorder, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, all these which can be diagnosed between this 15 to 30 years of age. Now, what impact does this have on our students? As we have seen, the onset of diagnosis of mental health disorders usually starts in the youth when they are going to schools. So during this period, our students may have difficulties in learning and then the learning difficulties in performance, behavioral difficulties, and failures in school, and as a result this may lead to school dropouts. Now, as we have seen the onset of the diagnosis of mental health disorders, it is mainly the youth when they are going to school. So schools can be the great location for mental health promotion, early identification, and intervention. Now, why do we need to address mental health in the, and why it is important to learning and educational outcomes? We all know mental health disorders severely impact learning. So schools are the ideal places to find the linkage between mental health and learning. Now we have inclusive educational system where education for all is the main motto, and to give this motto emphasize, giving attention to mental health is required as a learning enabler. Now schools can be used as a stigma reduction also to address a social exclusion. Yes, school stigma is a very big problem in the mental health genre. Stigma against the mentally ill recognized as one of the greatest barrier to social justice, appropriate healthcare, and development of civic society. And stigma pervades the entire social structure. So if anti-stigma activities are practiced in schools, then it may reach all the social elements like parents, then peers, our adolescent groups, and communities. Also, interactive mental health education in schools may help destigmatize mental illness. Now, schools' curriculum also needs to be developed to promote mental health. If the curriculum is set in such a manner in students' education, then mental health problems can be normalized. The teachers also needs to be trained. The basic knowledge and identification problem, like identification skills of mental health problems, should be given to them. Then proactive mental health, if it is practiced, then approach needs to be introduced in the learning environment. Also, mental health incorporated curriculum will help the students to ask for help for themselves, and also when they can identify that there is some problem with their peers that they are facing, they may seek help for them for their friends also. This will inculcate a help seeking behavior in them. Now, teachers also needs to be supported mentally in the school environment. Why so? Because mental health needs for the teachers are substantial, and if it is not administered, then it may negatively impact the student's success. Issues faced by students can often be faced by teachers as well. So on-site mental health models can also provide the teacher support. So more effective teachers is equal to more effective teaching is equal to more effective learner that we will get. Now, what is needed to create mental health integration in schools? Surprisingly very little. Policies and plans that recognize integration of mental health into educational institutions across a variety of domains to enhance learning outcomes, mental health curriculum to build for building, promotion, and addressing stigma through scientific knowledge, and teachers training for basic knowledge and understanding of identification of mental health problems, And also location appropriate infrastructure should be given, infrastructure and support should be given, as in like for example, we have gatekeepers, student service expertise, and community links. Now, what are the keys? What are the keys of our success? The keys of our success would be promotion, prevention, early identification, early intervention, then ongoing collaborative care. And lastly, I would like to conclude my topic with a note that education and mental health are part of human rights of all children and youth. Education for all requires attention to mental health as a learning enabler. So it is very important to incorporate mental health education with the school education. Thank you. I know I have made my PPT very small because there's time constraint is there. So that's why. Thank you so much for.
Thank you, Shweta ma'am. It's a wonderful session, and we can say your child's mental health is more important than their grades. Let them be little, let them be creative, let them play often. In short, let them be children again. So thank you so much for your wonderful session and your crisp and zest, all the things you have mentioned in your presentation. Thank you so much. Now, after this wonderful session, I would like to request Dulmoni Das ma'am. She is now connected with us. Due to some network issues, she left the meeting and then she rejoined. Ma'am, can you hear me? Dulmoni Das ma'am. Hello, Dulmoni ma'am, are you there? I think again there is a network issue from her side. So I would like to request our another invited speaker. I would like to welcome Miss Anvesha Chakravarti, Masters in Stress Psychology, a rehabilitation psychologist and currently working in Mount Cletera Z School. Anvesha ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Firstly, very good evening to everyone. And I would really thank you to Dr. Khalid sir for giving me this opportunity to share my viewpoints on this topic. Actually, in this present era, it is really very important to talk about mental health. As we can see that students are really unable to take their own decisions. And they are taking dangerous decisions like they are committing suicide. So for this, we are here we are introducing this session. And for that, I would like to share my PPT. Okay, so as today's topic is not their mental health, we should worry about is their mental health. What is mental health? Mental health is including our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. Now, education is always important. But you know, education and mental health go hand in hand. So we should encourage education and mental health simultaneously. For that, we should know what are the key elements of psychological well-being. The first important point is self-acceptance. Self-acceptance is we all have our own potentials. So we should accept ourselves. We all have our own strength, our own weakness. Like fish can float and birds can fly. Now what will happen? If fish wants to fly, it will be against the law of nature. Thus, we should believe in ourselves that whatever capabilities we have, that's really enough for our entire life to fight with any situation. The next domain is personal growth. learning is a never ending process. We only face two situations. What are they? Either we win or we gather experience. There is no word, there should not be any word like failures. We won't never fail. Teach your child that if they fail in situation, so tell them that you are gathering experiences. So we should not stop learning. We should know what is the purpose of our life. You need to ask your child to think about what is their purpose of their life. Ask them, give them that opportunity to find their own strength, their own weaknesses. Next is environmental mastery. Teach your child how to face the new situation. Learn to change with the new circumstances. As we know, in that COVID situation, what happened fastly? When the situation arises, all of us think, oh God, everything is shutting down, education will stop, what will happen? But now see, after this 5 to 6 months is covering, we are wonderfully going by online training, online webinars, everything is going, nothing is stopped. What is the reason behind it? We just learned to change ourselves with the new situation. The next is autonomy. Teach your child to be independent. Yes, as a parent, as a caregiver, or maybe as a teacher, you have concerns about your child. Of course, you will have. But still, you need to give some space to your child. Ask them in at least some cases to take their work, take their decisions at their own. They can do their works. And lastly, very much important point, that is positive relations with others. Very important. Like the COVID, what we are maintaining distance. So like this situation also, make a safe distance with negative thinkers. Don't tell your child all the time that, oh, you can't do it. It's not your cup of tea. Instead, you just tell them, try this new situation. You just make them self-confident. Now, I'd like to give some guidelines for students as well as caregivers, that how you can promote mental health. You need to teach your child to evaluate the situation and select the proper way to handle the situation. And it is really not necessary to always choose the 5 criteria all the time. In every situation, either we fight or we flight. Fighting means we are facing the situation, and flighting means we are not facing it. This is the only difference. But you know, it is really not important all the time that we should keep fighting. It is sometimes flighting is the best situation solution can be for that situation too. So you need to train your child to think, to evaluate the situation properly, and they can go for the way out. Very important point. What we do in any situation, either we react or we can respond. What is reacting? If your child did something wrong and you immediately react by getting angry, perhaps you are yelling, what will happen by doing this? If you react like the way all the time, your child will never be able to share their problems with you. So what will you need to do? Instead of reacting, you can respond. How will you do it? If now same situation, your child did something wrong. You notice your anger reaction, but pause, take a breath. You just consider that, okay, this is already happened. You need to teach your child that they should not make the same mistake again and again. How they can avoid the same mistake. You need to hug your child. You need to tell your child, yes, you are there. You are the support system of your child. In every situation, you will help your child. So you need to respond, rather reacting. Very much disappointing. You always judge, you always compare. Please don't compare your child with others. Even for students also, if there is any student or teacher, please don't compare your students. And for students, I would like to say, believe in yourself. Don't compare yourself with other. Maybe they have your friends are maybe jealous, they are maybe envy about your unique strength. Maybe you have some unique strength which they don't have, and they are really envy about. So what you need to do? You need to just find out your strengths, your uniqueness, and just boost it up. It's a request to the parents as well as the teachers. Don't always take the driver's seat for your child, for the students. Sometimes ask them to take their own decision. Ask them to choose their own clothes, can be any choices it can be. Ask them to plan about their further studies. Ask them what subject you want to go further. Make them independent. You know what will happen if you do so? If they face any interrupted situation, any abrupt situation, they can evaluate. Remember, I just told a few minutes ago that you should train your child to evaluate the situation. By making their own decision only, they can properly evaluate any situation and they can handle any situation. And lastly, I really would like to introduce graphology. I really don't know how many of you are aware about graphology. It is the study of handwriting. It claims to infer individual's character. And actually, graphology is a vast area, but I really want to share some key points, some new techniques that you can understand your child better in a way in terms of their capabilities to face the stressful situation. What you need to do? You just need to check your words, notebooks, or any copies to see their handwriting. If you look carefully, you will find some patterns are there. Teachers, it is very much important for the teachers. You, while checking your students' copy, please check. If you see all this, which I am going to tell you, if you find all this criteria, please help your students. Now, what if you look, if find that your student or your child is writing in tilted rightwards? It means that student is capable to handle any stressful situation. Whatever the situation will be, that student will fight out. Now, what if you find the letters are backwards? Actually, it means that they are really avoid this kind of situation. Why? Because they don't have much courage to face it. In that case, you need to teach your child to trust their decision, make them independent. You need to boost their self-confidence by making them capable to take their own decisions. Now, what if you find the letters are verticals, means the straight writing? That means your child always welcome unnecessary stress. If there is no stress, then also that child will find some stressful situation, some unnecessary thoughts. So what will happen? It will hamper their everyday, their daily life. They actually can't live stress-free. Here also you need to boost self-confidence. You need to tell them that no need to worry unnecessarily. So that's all. So for concluding, I think that I hope it will help you to strengthen your children's mental health. So thank you all. Nandini ma'am, over to you.
Thank you so much, Anvesha ma'am. It is wonderful, wonderful presentation, and it helps us a lot. And we have to accept that this is new normal, a new beginning, and things will change. Thank you so much for your wonderful tips. Now, I think we have our last speaker over there, Miss Dulmoni Das. I would like to, again, I want her to invite so that she can complete her presentation.
Nandini, can you see the slides now?
Yes, ma'am. It is now clearly visible.
Oh.
Yeah, and your
Okay,
voice
okay.
is totally audible. You can
Okay,
continue.
fine.
Okay.
Yeah, so extremely sorry again for all the network issues. Yeah, let me continue. So I was talking about addiction. Yeah, so addiction comes from the word edicare. Edicare, basically it means bound to or being enslaved by. We most of the time talk addiction in terms of psychoactive substances, drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, etc. But we hardly hear something about behavioral addiction. So behavioral addiction, according to Godman, he said that there are two main components which are required there to be present for a behavioral addiction. First is it should provide pleasure, or it should remove the negative mood. Second, there should be inability to stop or reduce the behavior that is causing the addiction. And overall, Godman emphasizes on the core element of behavioral addiction, which is loss of control. So in spite of trying to cut down, in spite of trying to reduce or to stop, the child is unable to reduce or to stop the behavior, which is the digital addiction. Now, digital addiction, the term can be synonymously used by different words such as technological addiction, digital dependence, problematic internet use, and internet addiction. Now, why should we talk about digital addiction? Why it is important? It is necessary for us to understand that it is not a situation which is happening in some children or in some adults only. It is becoming a grave situation, becoming a problematic area. As you can see in this was a census which was done by the Digital Global 2020 this year itself. So the total population, imagine, is 7.75 billion, out of which 67% are mobile users, of which again 59% are internet users. So you can see that so much of the population is using this. But are they aware of the safe use of internet? Are they aware of the safe use of mobile? That is doubtful. Now in the next slide we can see the most common application which is being used happens to be the chat application such as Messenger or WhatsApp, followed by the social networking apps such as Facebook. So we see nowadays everyone is having a profile, be it Instagram, be it Facebook, be it Messenger, be it WhatsApp, everyone. But children, what we are concerned about is children. Let's see here. Let's take for example Facebook. In Facebook, we are seeing that 13 to 17 years old of children, 2.5 to 3. The number might seem very small number here. But we have to understand that these are the children who will grow up to the next level of 18 to 24 years and will have more serious problems of digital addiction then. So if the problem is not identified at this stage itself, and if it is not managed at this stage itself, it is going to be even problematic to manage when they proceed or when they grow, when they enter the early adulthood phase. So that's why it is very important. Same thing applies for Instagram also, which I'm just taking as a form of application. So this is not just for these applications, but even for the other applications, other features of digital technologies which are there. Now, let's see the current scenario, digital addiction during COVID-19 pandemic. Why should we talk about digital addiction now? It is very much important to talk now about digital addiction because of three main factors that the children are facing. First is lockdown and quarantine. So basically they are at home. Normally what happens is that children go to school, they meet their friends, they meet other children. So it is a kind of social environment which is going on. But currently that social environment the child is not getting. The child is restricted at home only with the parents. So that creates a lot of stress, anxiety, low mood. They might become boring. They might also feel social isolation. So they easily adopt to digital technologies in order to resolve those problems or in order to reduce these problems. So when they are getting into digital technology, they are satisfied. They are feeling happy that they are meeting their friends, they are seeing other people, but they do not realize the harms that might be associated with them. Second is online classes. Now we have most of the classes going online. Education system has been shifted virtually. So the classwork, the homework, the attendance, assignments, everything is being done online. But what happens here is that what I have noticed is that most of the children, they did not own a phone before, but now they are owning. How it is? See, when education has transformed to virtual mode, generally it's parents who give their phones to children for online classes. But now since lockdown is lifted and parents have gone to their work, the business establishments are open, offices are open, so the mobile phone is not there with children that they can attend online classes. So as a remedy of that, the parents are buying cell phone for their children, but they are not supervising them. So there is a high chances of digital addiction now. And next is source of information. We have a wide range of information, especially about COVID-19. Anything you want to know, just it's at a click of your fingertips now in mobile. So be it the COVID-19 dashboard, be it new findings, be it any government notification, everything is there. So for children also it's same. Every information is there at their fingertips. So they become easily addicted to that. Next, we'll see what are the different types of digital addictions that can occur. First is the content consumption addiction. When we say content consumption addiction, it means to know more. That means there is lots of curiosity in children. They want to know more, one after the other, one after the other. And internet is providing them answers with all their questions. So it becomes like a vast ocean of information which is readily available to them. So they become easily addicted to that. Digital compulsions. That means they are having an irresistible urge of checking notifications, checking messages. So every time they want the phone to be there with them and repeatedly keeping on checking in the form of compulsion. Online gaming and addiction. Now, online gaming is the most common form of addiction among children. Why? Because they like games. No doubt, they are children. They will like games. But now they have shifted their gaming habits from physical games to online games. Next is online shopping addiction, which one of the speakers had said. So there's a term which is known as oniomania, or which can also be said as buying shopping disorder. So this is a disorder of mental health, which can also result from excessive shopping. So these are shopping impulses which are not controllable. Next is cybersex addiction. Now, cybersex addiction is the form of addiction which is related to sexual content available in the internet. This might result from reading erotic stories, viewing, downloading, or even uploading online pornography, adult online fantasy chats, or it can be even online sexual activities. So children, they do not understand. See, they are very curious at this age that they want to know what they want to explore sexual behavior. They want to understand their sexuality. So if they are not getting the proper guidance from teachers or this internet is the best way in which they can get answers to their curiosity of their sexual health. But they are also getting at risk of different types of cyber sexual threats. Next is cyber relationship addiction. This is a form of addiction to forming new relationships online without knowing the other person. Now, what is the psychopathology behind digital addiction? Let's see. So first is the escapism. Now, what can be the reasons? We will try to understand that children adopt digital technology much more than the normal use. First is that they want to escape. They want to escape from the problems that they are having in their own life, like for example, their peers, their families. So there might be lots of problems. So in order to escape from them and feel a sense of pleasure, they are adopting digital technologies. Next is low self-esteem. they have, some children might have a lot of physical or emotional the attributes which they are not happy with, and they do not feel accepted in the real world, but they have a virtual world of their own where they create an image of themselves in such a way which is more presentable, which is more acceptable socially, and that virtual self of them becomes their actual self, which they feel like it's their actual self, and they really like making relationships with that virtual self of theirs, and that keeps on continuing. Then is comfort world. Now, as we said, escape. When they escape from the threats of their real life, they come into the comfortable world which they have created for themselves. So they feel comfortable and they like to stick to it. Next is problematic families. We generally see that the children who are from problematic families, they do not get the support, they do not get the encouragement from their families. They try and search it from some other sources. Digital media provides them with an excellent source for their satisfaction. Next is poor social skills. Now, there are children some who do not have good social skills, and they are anxious, they are apprehensive in forming relationships in their real life. But in the digital world, they feel confident. They are able to make the relationship without being threatened of their real self. The next slide is about the theoretical perspective. So the theoretical perspective has been explained by Ryan and Deci. I will just cover this in short. So Ryan and Deci said that they have said that individual human beings have individual needs. Yes, we all have needs, and those needs they have classified in the form of self-discrimination theory. This theory was given in the year 1985 by them, by both of these, and with the help of this theory, they tried to explain digital addiction. So they said that individual needs may be of three types. That is relatedness needs, competency needs, and autonomy needs. Now, relatedness needs, it means belongingness. Humans have a need to have a close affection or have relationship with others. Competency needs here basically means succeed. So humans generally have the tendency or the need to be efficient in whatever they are doing, be it their personal or be it with the environment. Then autonomy is basically the authority need. So what happens is that when children have these three needs, and these needs are not met in their real life, unmet real life needs, so definitely they will try to meet these needs in somehow or the other in order to reduce their distress. So they have two options. Either they can meet the needs in real life or they can meet the needs in virtual life. Now real life becomes very threatening because of their personality, because of the social environment, because of the family structure, whatever may be the reason, real life fulfillment of needs becomes threatening to them. But in virtual life, it is very much less threatening. So they adopt the virtual life or the virtual self of themselves in order to satisfy these needs. For example, I will give maybe gaming. When a child is playing games, he is able to form a team with other players in the game. He is able to have opponents in the team. He is able to have opponents in the game. So that is a form of making relations. When he's fighting in a team, he's having a game of fights, he's working in a team. So forming a relationship with other playmates of the game. Next is competency. There's a sense of competition. Every level he succeeds, he goes to the next level. He feels satisfied because he has succeeded in the previous level and he has gone to the next level. Autonomy. He has the full authority to decide here which way he wants to go, which path he wants to adopt, which type of arms he wants to take in order to fight the battle. So it is his own personal decision. So these three needs are being satisfied in a video game, for example. Once the need is satisfied, there is reinforcement. He feels good because there is a form of reinforcement which is obtained by fulfillment of these needs. And this reinforcement encourages him to keep on using the digital technology more and more up to that extent that it becomes a form of addiction. The next one here is there are different forms of dangers which may result out of digital addiction. First comes the physical dangers, which is headache, backache, text neck syndrome. This is a new syndrome that was just in 2018. It was being cited by one psychologist. So text-neck syndrome. Then there is weight gain or weight loss because of decreased activity, sedentary lifestyle, disturbances in sleep, carpal tunnel syndrome. It is a form of numbness tendency in the wrist or in the hand because of the compression of the median nerve. Then blurred or strained vision repeatedly on screen and poor hygiene. Next, mental health outcomes. Some of the mental health outcomes which have been associated with digital addiction are anxiety, depression, aggression, ADHD, and self-harm. Now, there are also some online dangers for children. These online dangers, as reported in the infographic portal 2017, it says that 87% of children have observed cyberbullying. 71% of parents stop supervising their children's internet use after the age of 14. Definitely, it is seen. And out of those 71%, 72% of internet-related missing children cases involve children who are 15 years or older. Next, 65% of online sex offenders use social networking sites to gain home or social information about their victims. Another 69% of teens receive personal messages online regularly from people that they do not know and which they also do not report to their parents. 34% of middle and high school students said that they have affected cyberbullying in their lifetime. They have experienced that. And 64% of those same students said that it has affected their ability to learn and feel safe at school. 60% of teens reported that they had online accounts that their parents were unaware of. Another 28% of children of the age 11 to 12 and 55% of teens aged 15 to 16 have been exposed to some form of pornography. And 15% of children between the age of 10 to 17 have had at least one person contact them with sexual intent. So these are very dangerous. Now, there are some guardians or teachers as well as counselors can look for, which indicates them that the child may be having some form of addiction to digital technology. These are the child loses track of time when online, lies about amount of time spent online, sacrifices needy hours of sleep to spend time online, becomes agitated or angry when online time is interrupted, checks notifications or online messages repeatedly, spends time online in place of homework or studies, prefers to spend time online rather than with friends and family, disobeys the time limits that have been set by the parents for internet usage, forms new relationship with people met online, preoccupied with getting back online when away from the mobile, loses interest in activities that were enjoyable before, and easily becomes irritable when they are not being allowed to stay online. So these are some of the warning signs that they can identify. But of course, these are only warning signs. They do not for sure say that the child is having digital addiction. For that, there are some diagnostic tools which the counselor, psychologist will be adopting in order to diagnose the child with some form of digital addiction. Some have been listed here, some I have listed here, such as Young's Internet Addiction Test, Problematic Internet Use Questionnaire, compulsive internet use scale, video game addiction test, social media addiction scale, Facebook addiction test. So those are some of the diagnostic tools. Now, how to prevent? How can it be prevented? Now, this is basically from the parents' point of view. Build trust and understanding. The child has to have the trust in the parents so that the child will share as to what kind of digital behavior the child is having, as well as understanding. If there is a problem, the child has to be made understand that digital technology can also cause mental health problems to the children, so that understanding has to be made. Second is the addressing of the problems. The addressing of the problems, basically they will have to identify the problems and see which are the areas which are causing addiction in the child and report those to the school health counselors. Then show your care. The parents have to show their care that yes, they are concerned. It's not that they are against the child using digital technologies, but they want to help the child. So they have to talk openly and show their care and concern, become more computer savvy. Parents also have to understand the different forms of digital technology, and then only they'll be able to identify that their child is having problematic internet usage, and also set reasonable rules and boundaries. They should not stop their children from using digital technologies, but they should set some rules that have to be strictly followed in order to avoid any form of digital addiction. And then this is the tips. This is the last part. So the tips for parents as well as counselors as well as teachers to identify, to help them. These are some of the management strategies that they can adopt. Never to use gadgets as pacifiers. Some parents, it is seen that just because their children are crying, they are irritable, they are not at peace, they give the mobile to them. They give the mobile, they open whichever application the child likes, and the child is given the mobile. So that should not happen, because that becomes a habit to the child. Making a hierarchy of priorities for children. So the parents or the teachers can make a hierarchy that first you have to do your homework, then you have to finish eating, then you have to do this, and later towards the end, maybe 1 hour, you can take the mobile and you can sit with the mobile. So the hierarchy of priorities has to be maintained. Children should not be allowed to use social profiles without supervision. It is the responsibility of the parents to see that their child is using any form of social profiles, in which manner and in which of the application. Next is, children should be made to understand right to online privacy. They do not understand privacy. What information be kept in social media, what information should be hidden from social media. So that information has to be conveyed to them by the parents or the teachers. Not allowing to download games or apps without parents' permission, even if they are free of cost. Encouraging them to turn off notifications whenever they want to see the mobile. They will be given a specified amount of time when they will be able to access the mobile. Throughout, they should not be allowed to keep on having the mobile with them. Having a charging point in common room instead of the child's room. So that will help. That will help because the child will not keep on using the mobile so much. Once it is out of battery, you have to come to the common room to charge. So the parents can identify the child is using the mobile excessively. Then having a bedroom, a no-tech zone. No-tech zone means in the bedroom, they are not supposed to take the mobile and keep surfing internet. Once they come to the bedroom, the mobile have to be kept aside and should not be touched. And one more point was missing, that is digital detox. So digital detox means there should be some specific time intervals during which the child should be completely refrain from using any form of digital devices. So there can be days, there can be hours that should be totally detox. So I would also like to add one thing here, that always digital technologies, they are not bad, they are also good, because studies have seen that digital technologies help children in increasing IQ, they help in creativity, they help in critical thinking, they help in understanding the significance of privacy. So it is very important to understand the positive impact of technology and have the safe and reasonable use of technology among the children. So these are some of the references that I have used for this presentation, and I would like to end my presentation by a quote saying that technology is a useful servant but a dangerous master. So we should know how to use technology wisely. So that is all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for your wonderful explanation. Nowadays, we all know that teenagers or children or school-going children from class 1 to 12 standard all are addicted to smartphones and mobile phones.
Right.
So
right.
It is very informative session, and the tips you have given to our parents and caregivers and all those people who are dealing with those children, like we have counselors in our group or teachers in our group. You give a wonderful tips to how to tackle the internet addiction or phone addiction. Thank you so much, ma'am. I hope this will help us.
At least I got to present after lots of internet issues also.
We are also glad for that, ma'am. Thank you so much. As we all know that during this COVID-19, all the caregivers and parents are somehow getting depressed, and it's all about their children. They are not going to school. They don't have anything to project their emotions or to project their self actually. So here is some tips from me, from myself, that create a sense of belongingness, always attached with them, talk with them, promote resilience, develop competencies, ensure a positive and safe homely environment where they can talk freely, they can share freely, they can do everything. If we are talking about school and we are talking about mental health, it is very necessary that that children can talk freely and comfortably. They need a comfort zone where they can share everything. Always teach and reinforce positive behavior and decision making. Encourage them helping others. If they help others, they will help themselves, and the feeling of satisfaction will become their main building of self. Encourage good physical health. Educate the other caregivers. Like if you are a parent, talk to other parents so that how they're dealing with such kind of COVID-19 pandemic. If you are a teacher, talk to parents. If you are a counselor or psychologist or any other mental health professional, just give a psycho education to them. Ensure access to school-based mental health supports. If you people have a counselor in school, if you are a counselor in school, then you can talk and have a small sessions so that you can ensure a good mental health. From these words, I would like to conclude our meeting. I would like to convey my thanks and regards to Dr. M.A. Khalid sir, who gave us such a wonderful opportunity to and a platform to have our views and project it in this online webinar. I would like to thank and my heartful gratitude towards Matt Perelstein. He is such a wonderful guide, and he guided me a lot about all the things, and without any time zone. Actually, he worked all day long and he didn't sleep yet, but he guided me about small details all about the webinar. Thank you so much for your valuable time, sir. Next, I would like to convey my gratitude and thanks to all of the speakers, Bhagyashree ma'am, Shweta ma'am, Anvesha ma'am, Dr. Bashir sir, Dr. Shritima Ghosh, Dulmani Das ma'am, and everyone who just helped me and guided me in all the sessions. I am very thankful for your valuable time. And not last but not least, the most important persons in our webinar are our valuable participants. I would like to thank for your patience and your time that you have given to us during this webinar. And all of and information to all of you, we are going live on YouTube, and you will get a YouTube link. Actually, you had get a YouTube link. Go and check this whole presentation if you missed any of the speaker. And feedback link is already sent it to you. Please fill it and let us know if there is any suggestion so that we can improve our webinar. And one more thing I want to inform you all that we have a webinar, international webinar presented by Professional Institute of Business, Bangladesh, tomorrow also, same time from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Actually, it is all from the overseas, from all over the globe. The speaker will come and give you a knowledgeable insight about emotional intelligence among teenagers, which is really in need nowadays. Thank you so much. From these words, I would like to end the meeting. You may leave now. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nandini. Thank you, Khalid. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Khalid sir. Thank you, Matt.